Okay, so much for just trying to dance. So, guys, thank you for being here. It is Jess Jackson guest, and there are two guests tonight. I'm so glad that you're here or that you're watching on replay. Now, a couple things. I am still new to this, so there are some tech issues that happen. So please be gentle with me. Sometimes my lighting isn't so great. Sometimes I put up the wrong picture for the wrong person, but I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited to learn with you, learning not just about this show, but learning about our two amazing guests. Now, these guys, I don't know if they could be more different than each other if we tried to pair them together this way. So I already see some people in the comments. Thank you, Noah, for being here, and Joseph, and Willie J's in the house. Man, I haven't seen you in a while. We need to catch up and get you on this show. And then we've got some people on YouTube already. And again, if you're watching on the replay, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to hype these wonderful humans. They're good dudes. They're great people. One is from Canada, so he is 1 hour behind me in time zone. And the other is from Utah, which is 2 hours behind. So I appreciate them coordinating the schedules to be here tonight. I hope you enjoy them just as much as I do. And I have been to Canada multiple times, but I have not been to the area that Gregory is in. And I finally made it to Salt Lake City, where Lane is in, gosh, a little over a year ago. So I'm excited to hear from both of them. But before we get them on stage, please, if you haven't yet, go ahead and put who you are in the comments, or let us know you're live. And let us know if you're here specifically for Gregory or for Lane. It's not a competition, but if it's because you saw it on their page, I might not know you yet. Gregory might not know you if Lane directed you here, and the same for him. So we want to make sure that we can expand our reach. We can get to know each other a little bit better, and network and network and network. Melissa, thank you for being here. And David and Gregory, of course, is backstage, but he's already doing his little phone. I appreciate it. Lisa and Kenneth, thank you guys all for being here. It really means a lot because these are great people. Now, I have been doing this on Monday nights now, and it's 9 p.m. my time. And if you guys don't know me yet, Mondays are intense. We have a lot of interesting stuff that we do at my day job. We work in the reentry field, in the restorative justice field. We work with people that are committing crimes and people that are having crimes committed against them. And we work with people that are in conflict. So I have ran a court group for youth today. I've had a community corrections meeting with all kinds of important people. It's been hopping, but my weekend was also pretty intense as well. So not sure about you, but if you're intense because it's a Monday, if your weekend was so wonderful or so rough, totally just relax. Feel free to multitask as we're talking. And if you want to know a couple cool things, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Tanya and Damien. They run the 2350 Network. They had an amazing show last night because it's their 1-year anniversary. I am one of the founding members of the 2350 Network, so I'm so excited to hype them and support them because they're good humans. They're really good humans trying to elevate people. Whether you're in the business world, whether you want to be elevated professionally or personally, it's a great opportunity to join them. And we have decided to finally make our very first in-person get-together, a retreat this October. So it's going to coincide with their virtual work-life balance summit. That's going to be also during that same time. I'm going to be one of the presenters that day. So I hope you're willing to check out the summit because, guys, the information is amazing. I always make sure that my staff participate as much as possible because there's so many different topics. They just are so amazing. So I just love being able to hype them a whole bunch. So if you didn't get to catch their show last night, feel free to go back, check it out. You'll get to understand what the 2350 effect really means, why they started a network based on that, and how to support each other. So that's pretty cool stuff. And then I just need to give this huge shout out. Now, she is in the comments with me right now. And if you have seen one of these shows earlier on, actually, it was the very first episode, you know this human, Melissa Ann Houston. She and I do the Emotional Women, which we actually just met today and coordinated. Our next event is going to be on Sunday, June 1st. So we'll get that event out before too long. But her and Felipe, oh my gosh, they did an amazing show yesterday morning. My yesterday morning, if you guys are visiting from another time zone, I do apologize. And it was all about AI. And I'm one of those people, guys, I'm a little old school. I'm not as young as I used to be. I tend to think I kind of am techie, and other times I run from tech because, you know, it's new and learning it can be interesting. But they were all about talking about AI and why we want to use it. Now, I am not somebody that is going to use it to give my voice something different. It is going to be more for information, for learning, for Really cool images. I did this during their show yesterday. Their Careers, Chaos, and Coaching show was yesterday. Go back and watch it. Even if you're really fluent in AI, some of the things that we talked about, super fun, and it was really easy to do. So I was just type in, and was able to come up with some stuff. So there's different ways to explore and expand your reach by some of the different shows that you are involved in, whether you're not even commenting on them, whether you're watching the replay. Guys, it's almost like free education anytime you want. So I am so glad to be able to hype both of them and their shows. Make sure you're going back. If you have an upcoming show, please put it in the comments. We want to support you as well. It's cool stuff. And Lion, he's in the comments too. Dude, he is the first one that really kind of like inspired me to really try the cartoon AI and to know that it's not as scary as it is. I actually have one of my lights here to try to make me brighter because of his show. Make sure that you're following him too. We got to get him on stage one of these times with me. All right, I see some more people that have joined us. I appreciate that. I am excited to get the show started. Are you guys ready? Start getting some comments ready because we have two guests this time. It's going to go fast. We're going to get Lane up first. Then Gregory is going to round out the end of the show. So he's already in the comments responding to some people. So feel free to start asking him questions if you want. We're going to bring Lane up on stage. I appreciate that Abe's here. And I see Steve joined us now. And oh, my friend Jane, girl, I tell you, we got to talk someday soon. And Nicole's here. Guys, if I don't shout you out, I apologize. Sometimes StreamYard and LinkedIn forget to get together. Usually YouTube comments will show for me, but not always the LinkedIn. So make sure that you reach out to us. Are you ready? Have I talked enough yet, guys? Here he comes.
What? Hey, Jackie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, but it's so funny because your title, that whole affiliate chief fun officer, I mean, you just showed it coming in. So thank you for being here.
You just got to have fun. I mean, why be boring, Just have some fun with it. Do something different.
And boring gets our brains kind of miserable and cranky and all that fun stuff. And a lot of people know that I focus on mental wellness and I focus on people that have had rough things going on in their life. And the more your brain thinks that life is boring and kind of not fun, not exciting, there's no hope or joy, the more miserable they are. And we don't want those people surrounding us. Now, do we, Lane?
There's two things that make me miserable: not having enough fun. And have you ever seen that Snickers commercial? If I don't have lunch, about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I start getting hangry. So as long as I eat something for lunch and as long as I have some fun, we're all good.
I love that. I love how all those commercials like totally caught me on camera without my knowledge, because that is totally me when I don't have me some food. So yeah, I get that hangry all the time.
I've literally had friends and coworkers say, Lane, go eat something. Because they can just tell it's coming on.
Oh, that's funny. So. I usually get the, hey, did you want to close your door? That's the beauty sometimes. So Lane, I know that you and I have been connected on LinkedIn for some time. We are sometimes in groups together, or we're in different discussions on here, but you and I haven't even we've never had a Zoom meeting. We've never had a phone call.
Yeah, we haven't really connected in this way. So this is pretty cool. And we all ought to do more of this stuff.
I think you were here maybe on the first show and you said something about, oh, I could talk on there, and boom, we just booked you. And I'm like, what if he goes rogue on me? Oh, wait, I've got a mute button.
What if he's really a weirdo or something, right?
I love it. So the way I like to start each guest is I have 3 questions. Sometimes they go really quick and sometimes they take a while to answer. So I want you to feel comfortable taking as much time or as less time as you want. Then you get to shout out yourself and respond to questions of our guests. They are having fun with your Snickers commercial comment. I got to tell you, if you haven't seen the laugh chat. So that's fun. So Mr. Lane, 2 things you have done that you are proud of, please.
2 things that I'm proud of. One of them, let's put it this way. When I was in high school, I was like an A student for the most part. Made a couple B's and a C, but did really, really well. But my first year of college, my first semester was great. All A's, did well of college. But my second semester of college, I failed my first class ever. And I was devastated. I mean, here I was, high school, I was the National Honor Society kid, all this kind of stuff. And I failed a class. And so I decided to take a step back, and I didn't do college for a while. But eventually I did go back a few years later. I did go back, and I ended up getting my bachelor's degree. And what I ended up doing is I took some basic math classes, since that was my Achilles heel, so to speak. And then I just built on top of that. Matter of fact, it was one called my most advanced college class was a calculus class. And the class was tough enough. There was only two things that got me through that class. One was I had a tutor. Actually, there was two things that got me through it. There was a tutor. The other thing about this teacher, this professor I had, is that English was this professor's second language. So not only was I trying to learn all this advanced calculus stuff, but I didn't even understand what he was saying half the time, it seemed like. But I had a tutor, and there's a thing called the curve. Between those two things, I ended up making the class, ended up getting my degree, my bachelor's degree. And eventually I actually went back and got an online MBA too. So that's one thing I'm proud of, is going back and getting my education. And the other thing that I'm really proud of in my life is I adopted at the time when I adopted him, he was a 3-year-old half Tongan boy. And I knew when I turned 16, I knew I was or when he turned 16, excuse me, I knew I was in trouble, because all of a sudden he's taller and he's bigger than I am. But between him and I have 3 daughters that I raised also. So I adopted the one and had 3 girls. So one of my jokes is that I guess I can only make girls. But just raising those 4 kids, that's one of my joys of life. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we could do a whole show or 79 shows all about adoption. So thank you for even highlighting that. And it's funny because we were talking, Gregory and I, behind stage, and I'm just like, he was telling me how tall he is, and I'm like, yeah, subtract a foot, and that's where my height is. So I can only imagine you have that same experience, because I look up at my son, who's as tall as Gregory is, and I'm just like, okay, where did my baby go? Because he's not down there anymore. I appreciate you highlighting also your education, because I tell you, finance, dude, whew, it's tough. And I run a nonprofit, and that is without question, between your background and Gregory's background in HR, those are the 2 things that I did not prepare myself enough for before I became a director of an agency. And it is literally the lifebone of agency. So thank you for what you do. Now we're going to switch from the successes to tell us something you're still working on. What are you growing in right now, Lane?
It's interesting because my degree was in finance, and I have a passion of finance, but I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't have that. I actually, I've actually been a financial advisor with 3 top firms, 3 top 10 type companies. And one of the things I figured out, I did the math, and I figured out that just to be reasonably really okay, so that you don't have to worry about, we know that the last few years, the prices of everything, inflation, the prices of everything have just gone up dramatically. And I did this calculation one time, and I said, you know what? I really need like $2 million. If I got $2 million, then I don't have to really worry for the rest of my life for prices doubling every few years. Because we know that every about 10 years or so, the price of a lot of things will double. And so, so that's, but I'm not there yet, and so here I am on LinkedIn coach, Be Connected affiliate. And it's almost embarrassing to say, but I don't have that $2 million yet. So,
I don't know if I would use the word embarrassed, because even having that goal is so far ahead of so many people that do. You just use the word be connected, and I had to bring up this cute little AI image, because that's something you're going to probably be talking about here soon. I do want to hear where you're going to travel, though. If you could go anywhere, that's my last question before we get into this. I do see Felipe's already got a question for you, and I want you to be able to highlight your stuff. So where would you go right now without that $2 million in the bank?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I've learned a little snippets of some different languages. Like I've learned a little bit of Spanish. I know enough that I can kind of get by, but then they start speaking. I'm like, okay, you lost me now. I know a little bit of Tongan, which is interesting because my son was, again, half Tongan, and I met his biological father one time, and I said "Malolele fefehake," which is like "Hello, how are you doing?" And he got these big eyes, like, why is this white guy speaking my language? Which was kind of fun. But in high school, I took 2 years of Latin, which of course is the root language. Now, the only people that really use language much these days are pharmacists and Catholic priests. Pretty much, those are the only people that really use the Latin. But it's the root language, and so the cool thing is I can read little bits of all kinds of different languages, and I can understand at least part of it. Just because of that background. So with that said, one of the places that I'd really like to go to is Italy. So I can see, the current, Italy and kind of the history of it, like back in the Roman days and things like that. So that's one place that I'd really like to go is Italy.
I love that. And you are not the first person that has shared that as a dream vacation here on the show. So I appreciate that you shared that. I also love the diversity of the languages that you talked about, because one of the things that I pride myself on this show is having diverse guests, both diverse in experiences, businesses, thoughts, passions, and all of that. And language is one of those diversities we don't always talk about. And Charles is in the comments. He also speaks quite a bit and is learning more different languages. And he was actually an expat in Costa Rica for like 5 years. So he really got immersed in the language. So yeah, if you ever want to chat with him, make sure that you reach out to him, because he always likes to talk about different people learning languages before they go places. So you've got some comments coming in, but I want to show people a little bit about why he is a fun guy. I mean, first of all, this is kind of similar to his LinkedIn profile, but look at that smile, guys. I mean, he's looking all professional as he's talking today, but you don't get smiles like that if you're just a grumpy person, and we want to have more fun. And then, of course, I had this really cute little, woo, look at him. Look at him. I mean, I have not seen a karate image like this that has looked so much both like the person it's meant to and Chuck Norris at the same time. So, I mean, you could almost be a body double there. Look at that, Lane.
I love Chuck Norris jokes, but one of the reasons that karate entered into my life was a while back. I ended up getting divorced, and that was one of the toughest times of my life. And so probably one of the things that really helped me to survive, literally, was I actually took karate for a couple months, and I earned a white belt, which I guess is like the first level. And so, but it was all about focus, and it was a way to focus and de-stress and not worry about all the other things out there in life. And so to me, that's what karate was all about for me. And when I have more time one of these days, I'd like to go back and do more karate. And it's not about, it's kind of like, I love the Karate Kid, like Mr. Miyagi says, it's not about fighting or hurting the other person or whatever, or attacking the other person. It's all about, protecting yourself and defense more than anything.
I love that. And as you kind of talked about that, you said you only did it for a short while, but you already saw the benefits of that. And learning new skills helps our brain in so many ways, but also disconnecting from what we know and actually being the student for a while, man, does it become powerful, almost like a meditation or some kind of a self-care ritual that people don't always think about. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I can understand hard times, and too many of us have them, and we don't know about other outlets. We don't think about changing what we're used to or doing something new. And so I really appreciate you bringing that to the stage now. You want to give a minute or two, kind of talk about who Lane is and what you do, and then we can jump into a couple questions, and then your time, boom, is going to be gone before we know it.
Yeah, before we know it. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
It does.
So I was the oldest of 8 kids growing up, and I had 4. It's funny because one of my coworkers had this joke, because he was also 8 kids and he had 4 kids, and his inside joke that he would share with people is, I guess that makes me half the man my dad was. And so I've kind of adopted that that I could only handle half the kids that my dad did. So, so that's fun. So who am I? I'm about supporting people financially. I want people to do better. I mean, money isn't everything, but the last time I checked, when I went to the grocery store, they didn't ask for an IOU. They actually asked for money. And so, I one of my passions is helping people make a difference by supporting them financially. And so, I have been a financial advisor with 3 big companies. Learned a lot about that world, but I decided. I didn't like watching the stock market all the time and things like that, but I've kind of gone back into some areas of that. But that's kind of one of the things that drove me. And so that's why about 6 years ago, I became a LinkedIn coach. I kind of took a deep dive into LinkedIn. And of course, LinkedIn has been around 21 years. I remember 20 years ago, I was job searching and I was in this big networking group, 100 people looking for jobs. And the leader of the group basically said, if you're not on LinkedIn and you're looking for a job, you really ought to be. And of course, these days, it's the largest business networking group on the planet. There's 1.3 almost billion people on LinkedIn in 180 some different countries. So LinkedIn, if you would have asked me 7 years ago, what's LinkedIn, I would have said, well, it's a place that you go to find a job, right? But really, it's about promoting whatever if you have a business or a side hustle or anything you have like this, it's really a great place to promote that. And for Google, there was a lead trainer for Google. So the guy that taught pretty much all the people at Google what's what, he said that these days it's almost not even an option. You almost have to have some kind of a business or some kind of a side hustle, and going forward that will really be even more critical. And LinkedIn is a great way to do that. And then about 2 years ago, I got introduced to something called Be Connected. And Be Connected is it's a few different things. There's 3 primary things that it is. It's a video call system. So if you think Zoom, it's very similar to that. But the main difference is on the side of the screen, it has 3 buttons. So whatever your business or side hustle is, for example, if you're wanting to invite someone to go to your website, if you're wanting to invite someone to buy your book or your online coaching session or whatever it is, you can set up these 3 buttons. And then, usually most people, if they have something to offer and they're on a Zoom call or a webinar, they copy and paste something in the chat or send someone an email. But it's so much simpler if you already have 3 buttons set up. All they have to do is click on it and go right to whatever your offer is. So that's one thing that I really love about Be Connected, and that's being a kind of a finance guy. That's the main thing that attracted to me to it, was that there was like these 3 buttons, and I was hearing in my mind, you on Venmo, if you have Venmo and someone sends you money, you hear that little cha-ching, cha-ching. So to me, that's what those little 3 buttons represent on Be Connected, is cha-ching, cha-ching, that you have basically money coming your way. It also has a social media site, and its own social media site, and it has a platform for online courses. And then besides that, they have something called the Core 4, which includes a CRM and a calendar separate too. But it's a really cool system for just some extra things for your business. And so I'm excited to see where they're going to go in the future. But yeah, so that's why I became an affiliate of Be Connected. And it's really cool. I live here in the mountains, and so one of the things I like to do is just get up in the mountains, especially in the summertime when it gets hot. It's 100 degrees. Where I live in Utah, it gets very cold. It gets to be, below freezing, 0 degrees. There will be snow in the winter time, but it also gets very hot because this is also a desert area, and so it can be 100 plus degrees. And so in the summertime, one of the things I love to do is to go up in the mountains. It's usually like 15 or 20 degrees cooler in the summertime. So I like to spend some time in the summer up that way. And, just like I was talking about karate, one of the things that I do is basically wellness or basically I look for ways to de-stress. I work to be healthy and try to eat well the most of the time, but then sometimes I have ice cream or whatever too. I have some cookies waiting for me that I'm probably going to eat right after this.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I just recently got is I got a set of crystal singing bowls. So
Mm.
so I'm playing those now, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. And it's just a great way for myself to de-stress, and then I can also share a way to de-stress with others, like a musical healing concert.
I love
That's
it.
that's my most recent hobby, so I have a lot of fun with that.
I love that. And that's one of the cool things about having you just kind of talk is so diverse because, I knew the finance background. I knew the Be Connected affiliate, but I didn't really know what it was. But I wouldn't have pegged you for a crystal bowl kind of guy. So I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
So so I was on Perta Noni's show the other night on the Spice Girls show, and she mentioned the name Lane, but I had to fall asleep. I'm so sorry. It's a little later for me. Did you actually sing a Spice Girl song and I missed it? Do I have to go back and listen?
So Noni, she has a nickname for me. So
Okay.
I am the godfather of LinkedIn rap. I'm actually a rapper on LinkedIn. So yeah, you'll
I
have to
didn't know that.
I like to invite everybody come out to Noni's. Usually this is Friday nights that she
Yes.
does these things. We do karaoke, and sometimes I do AI. I make AI songs. I just make my own songs, which is kind of fun, and I'll share that. But yeah, typically most of the time I'll do a rap each week too. So yeah, I did a rap about the Spice Girls, which was a lot of fun.
Well, I'm going to transition because that's a perfect opening because Abe used to be a rapper as well. And he asked you a question that says, who or what motivates you to do what you do? And I've got a couple more questions for you, and we got to get to Gregory. So let's try and
Yeah,
get these
yeah.
answers coming.
A big part of it is my kids. My kids really motivate me to do what I do, but also I have a lot of good friends. I mean, I have a lot of good friends here on LinkedIn. I have what 6,000, almost 6,000 connections here on LinkedIn, and so a lot of friends. But yeah, just getting to the next level because I'll tell you what really gets to me is there's a television show called The Undercover Boss.
Mm.
And so there's this big boss, and they usually go in disguise, and they go into one of their branches or whatever, and see what this is what my business really is doing. And so I'm a baller, and when I say baller, I mean two definitions. I love basketball, but I'll also tear up sometimes. Don't tell anybody this, but
No.
sometimes I will. And so I do start tearing up when, maybe there's some employee that's homeless and she's living in her car, and this, CEO of this company will buy her a new car and, put her, pay her rent for 6 months or something like that. So that's one of the things that motivates me is I really want to be able to do things like that down the road and just make a difference in people's lives in those kind of ways.
Oh, I love that so much. So Damien is for some reason not able to comment on the show tonight. Usually he shows up as LinkedIn user, but it's saying it's not going. So he messaged me directly a question he has for you. And then make sure to go through the comments because I know at least Felipe had a question and stuff, but this is going to be your last question tonight so we can get to Gregory.
Right.
Damien asks, with you being the oldest of 8, how has that helped with building your leadership and coaching style?
Oh, it's definitely helped a lot. When I was a kid, I was like the shy kid in high school. Like literally, I was on the yearbook staff. I was a photographer and videographer, and we had a page of inside jokes of the yearbook staff. And one of the comments under my name, it said, "Does Lane talk?" And so, but yeah, it's definitely made a difference. It's definitely taught me to have leadership and share my opinions and give my input and make a difference and have just really good quality conversations with people. So definitely I love that. So thank you for those great questions, everybody.
Lane, it was a joy getting to know you more. I know this is kind of a brief intro, but you are somebody that I think really needed to be highlighted without me even really realizing that because you had that different depth. And I think so many times people think, especially based on your social media profile or your LinkedIn posts that we do, that we're just one person. But guys, we are so multidimensional. And I think Lane did a great job showing that. And I'm going to end him with this one picture he sent me. Now look at that. This is a Texas raised guy that is now in the mountain/desert area. Now, one thing, Nelline, I don't know if you know about me, is that I actually have been to all 50 states now. And
Wow.
during my travels over the last 3 years, I think I'm at about 180 LinkedIn connections. So I wish we would have known each other more when I was in Salt St. Now I can't even talk.
Salt Lake.
Yes. And I got to experience kind of both of that. It was super hot during the day, and the higher up we got in some of the mountain areas, it did get chilly at night, and it was wonderful. So it was the best of both worlds getting to see that. I'm not going to lie, I didn't think I'd really like the cities, but it was very, very cool. So someday I hope our paths cross. I look forward to seeing you on different lives. I would love to see you post a video of you doing those crystal bowls sometimes and doing that. That would be super great. So thank you for being a guest. It means a ton to me that you were willing to come and that you were willing to share and be so transparent tonight. So anything else you wanted to say before you head off?
Thank you everybody for sharing and piping in, and Jackie, thank you. Next time you're in Salt Lake, definitely look me up. We'll maybe do something. And I love that you've been to all 50 states. That's one of my goals eventually that I'm going to be doing too. So thank you for sharing that.
I hope you get there. Let's talk again soon. Okay. Thank
Talk
you so
soon.
much
All
for
right.
being here.
Thanks.
Guys, it goes so fast. It was so great getting to meet Lane. I didn't know exactly some of the things he was going to talk about tonight, and it was so cool being able to experience it alongside some of the listeners. Now, I see some more people in the comments that I haven't either seen on the show before or they haven't left a comment before. So thank you guys for being here. This show is all about hyping other people and focusing on different ways that we can work together to have a better world, to focus on our mental wellness, whether it's in the reentry field, whether it's in travel, whether it's in your day job that has nothing to do with health or mental wellness, or if it's something that is a personal side passion of yours. Because guys, we're all in this together. We really are. And with that being said, who's ready for Gregory? I know some of you guys, he's a hype guy in a lot of your shows. It's time to hype him. And we know Jackie can talk a lot. Gregory can too. So are you ready? Are we going to do this, guys? Welcome to the show, Gregory.
We go from the home of the Utah Mammoth, which they're the newest nickname in the National Hockey League, to the President's Trophy winning, but we failed to make it past the second round because of one pesky Dallas Stars team, which I will say kind of bend the rules a little bit, but we'll survive basically in the area code 214 and the 413 basically. So yeah.
Yeah. If y'all haven't met Gregory, he likes his sports and he knows just about everything sport wise. And he's cutting me right off, not even letting me ask him the questions first to drop some knowledge, man. Gregory, I am so thankful that you're here. You and I have seen each other in the comment section so many times. We tend to rate on each other's posts. We have been in some emotional shows and we've been in some fun ones. And I can't thank you enough for caring about enough people that you are willing to put yourself out there. Your diversity background, you're hyping other people that have all kinds of neurodivergence and different personality traits and different experiences is so important. And I want to get you to talk about that shortly. But I do want to get you to those questions before you start. And I know you have a travel question for me that you have been burning up a hole to ask me for months now. There are going to be questions in the comments. So as you know, if we can get to them, we will. Otherwise, I know you'll follow up with them. But right now, Gregory, tell us 2 things you are proud of that you have already accomplished.
Well, I will say this. I will say thank you, Nicole, for the lovely dap and stuff here. I will say 2 things I'm happy to accomplish is I will say this overall platform of LinkedIn, I will say, basically, I will say a year, I'll say 14 months ago, I was like around 300 connections, and I'm around 1,200 connections with a social selling index of a top 9% in my network, per se, in the network category. And I will say, I will say, so basically, I will say, learn from HR in the words of Top Gun, from the best of the best of the best, basically, which is their motto of Fight Town, USA, in the original Top Gun movie in the 1980s with Tom Cruise. And
Getting back to you though, Gregory,
yeah,
we're
I
about
know,
you
I
hyping
know,
yourself.
I know. But I will
Yourself.
say another one will be, I will say, learning of, I will say, learning about myself as a person who's neurodivergent, and two, a person who has a protagonist personality. That is 16 personality tests of myself, and didn't want to do it, but someone in my network by the name of Lori Golden, who is born in New Jersey, but who now lives in Sin City, Las Vegas, forced me, I will say, kind of politely forced me to do a 16 Me personality test, and I basically had the same personality as her, and as well as another person in the network by the name of Emily Wooden, who is a career coach maven in the New England area and stuff, and that is uberly rare, because people who are protagonists, that there is a 2 to 5% of the world's population. If you want to know who is in that protagonist type of club, think Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, those types of people. So with me being a neurodivergent, as well as me with that personality trait, let's just say that I am in the words of Scarlett in the WWE, I am one unique cookie, basically. So yeah.
I love that. And I love that you not only hype other people, you gave people shout outs and stuff, and not everybody does that. And sometimes when we do have a neurodivergent brain, sometimes we focus just on ourselves, or we focus on just what's going on. So the fact that you were willing to do that, and I love that you let me kind of get you back on track a little bit, because you got like layers and layers and layers. So I'm going to kind of wrap you back in, because people have questions popping already. So now tell us one thing you are still working on for yourself, Gregory.
I will say, I'm gonna cheat a little. I'm gonna give you two. No, finding my own. And basically, I will say my weakness is putting people ahead of yours truly and stuff. But I have to find a happy medium to, basically, I will say, put myself first, and basically, I will say, thank you. Thank you, Jane, for the lovely comments there. Thank you very much. Thank you. Put myself first and stuff, and basically, I will say, as we are all Canadians, and I know this will probably start World War III hockey terms. Use put the elbows up in the corner, per se, and fight for what's yours and stuff. So yeah, so that's one of the two things that I am working at and stuff. So yeah.
I appreciate that response. And I'm okay with you kind of cheating. So that's okay. One thing I want all of us to work on for Gregory is, do you see that green banner? Guys, somebody needs to hire him. Not only does he have a ton of background and experiences, and we still got one more question before I let you go wild on me, but he puts the H into HR, human. Guys, are you not already seeing that? If you've seen other LinkedIn events that he's commented on, he cares, and he does a lot of that information to try to let people know that they're worthy and that he's hearing them. And then he drops all of his other knowledge. So if you guys know somebody that's hiring in his area, that maybe it's even I don't know if you mostly want in person, or if you want virtual, or if you're open to either, check out his page. Like he said, he's going to talk talk about it all. He is a work in progress, just like every single one of us, but he has got some skills. He did send me his bio that I am not going to read off because, guys, it's long. He's been involved in a lot of stuff, but check out his LinkedIn page if you are on LinkedIn or if you want to learn more about him, because he deserves to be highlighted and he deserves to be supported just like he has already been supporting other people. So, Mr. Gregory.
For example,
Oh,
this is a new person who I picked up in my network. I'm going to spell the name because I might butcher it. Jonaeediqubal. He recruits non-traditional talent that transforms businesses. He has a podcast called the No Degree Podcast, and he has over 300 LinkedIn reviews. He's in the New York City metropolitan area, and this is what basically caught my eye in terms of his LinkedIn profile, and it's in the about section. Second full paragraph. Did you know that 95% of job postings are inaccurate or misleading? That's
wrong.
That's in the words of Jerry Maguire in that scene with Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger. You had me at hello moment.
Now, I knew you were going to be quoting a bunch of sports statistics tonight. I did not know you were the movie guru too, Mr. Gregory. That is so funny.
I'm an 82 guy, so that's like the heart of good movies and stuff.
Just
so yeah.
a baby. You're just a baby. I love it. So, Gregory, before I let you go rogue on me, because I'm going to in a minute, tell us one place you would travel right now, whether it's about sports or movies or something totally different. Where would you go? The one place, no matter where, no matter how much money, where would you go right now?
I can't say one. It's a bunch.
Pick the one area then, or the geographic, or the type of travel.
It's a bunch. 28 LA Olympics, see Staples Center in the Intuit Dome. Go to South Bend, Indiana to watch Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Go to Norman, Oklahoma to watch the Oklahoma Sooners. Go to MSG and NYC to watch a Knicks or a Rangers game. It is, I will say, it's all up in a map. Go to Arlington, Texas to see, I will say, I'm a Cowboys fan. Sorry, not sorry for people on this call. So go see that stadium, as well as go overseas to my last name. Yes, my last name is a part of a soccer team in Adfield in Liverpool to see that, and I'll basically probably be treated like royalty because my last name in that city. So yeah, and as well as London, England, and Paris for Fashion Week, and you could do the same thing for NYC and stuff. So yeah, and Vegas and stuff. So yeah, for this past WrestleMania, basically. So
I was one of those people that totally assumed you were from the UK. I'm not even gonna lie.
I know. I get that a lot.
You know,
seriously.
I was so glad you corrected me.
If I had like $20 for everybody who thinks of that, I would probably be rolling in dinero, basically. So yeah.
I bet people from the UK don't think it though. They're probably just like, there's no way, because that is not people's names over in Liverpool. You know, that's just the team or something. So I love it. You are hilarious and I appreciate it. And boy, did you go more than one answer on where you would travel. And you never even talked about Michigan. I mean, if you had to pick one sports team in Michigan, what would you come see?
Beg your pardon?
What would be the one sports team or game or competition you would see if you had to come to Michigan for something?
It's gotta be the Big House. OSU versus the maize and yellow of Michigan. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Felipe, what city would you want to see for a non-sports related reason? Good question. Yeah. I would say non-sports reason would be South Beach.
All right. That didn't take you long to think of that. So I want to make
Southeast
sure.
because I have a person who I will say I love and adore your sports network down where you are, da-na-na, ESPN. Who name is Amber Wilson, who has a show called Amber and Ian on ESPN Sports on ESPN Radio. That's one, and there was like a thing on the other social media profile X. Who would you like to one of the personalities who would you like to see and stuff? One of them would be to have a major talk sports legal and party with Amber Wilson. That would be one. New York City would be probably have like a shopping weekend with Molly Curum, who is the host of who's the host of First Take and stuff. So and Felipe, that is a debatable that is
Thank you.
really debatable.
Did you see
In
me
terms
shaking my
of
finger?
yeah, OSU would win. I'm thinking it all depends on who's quarterback, receiver, and stuff, because those two universities kind of ebbs and flows in terms of if one is good, the other one's not so good. One is good, the other one's not so good. So it's literally ebbs and flows and stuff. So yeah.
So if you come to visit Michigan, you best be voting for some U of M, okay?
I know because hey, plus I do not care because the three college sports teams I like, Notre Dame, Colorado, and Oklahoma, they're not in the division of the Big Ten, so I don't care basically.
You're safe.
So I'm safe.
I've actually, one of my LinkedIn friends that I've went and visited in Indiana actually lives right outside of Notre Dame. So I actually drove by because I got so lost going to her house the first time. I actually ended up driving by their practice field and the band was out actually practicing. It was really cool. So I hope you get to experience that sometime. So Felipe asked you a non-sports related visit and you still turned it to sports, and you knew I was going to catch that and you still did it, but I love that. Gregory.
Yeah, because I that's one of my seventh or eighth sense. I could basically split my brain and focus on you and focus on the bottom. So I could literally, like, I will say, weave in and out per se. So yeah, so that's like one of my sixth and seventh sense per se. So yeah,
I love that.
It's very scary. Yeah.
And that's one of the things, and I do want you to kind of talk about this a minute, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
Gregory, is that so many people judge people that have any kind of a neurodivergence, whether it's autism, ADHD, whether it's a little bit of everything. And we want to, and kind of like what I'm doing a little bit, is we want to redirect you and we want to get our point across instead of just slowing down and letting you guide stuff, because brains that have that extra oomph, guys, you guys can conquer the world. I mean,
nothing for us without us. That's the supreme motto, basically. Yeah.
I love that. And I have ADHD. Some people don't know that. Some people can tell right away. But the memory, we have memories that not everybody is able to retain. And sometimes that's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? You're busy reading comments. Look at him. Totally.
Charles Phillips said, if you would go back to your first day of high school and redo your life, what would be the changes in your life? Woo,
I know, right?
Charles is choosing questionable, is coming in strong, like our former guest lives in Utah, Carl Malone, coming hard down the paint, and the mailman per se. What would I do? I would basically, this will probably, my parents would be right on this. I would have gone for the testing to see if I needed help. I basically uberly, I will say, kind of maxed through high school, which I will say, in a neurodivergent field, which I have now embraced and loved, is a quote unquote no-no. So I would have basically gone through that testing, because if that was the case, that would have basically cleared up a lot of Melissa in Houston says I should have my own sports fan podcast on LinkedIn. Okay. Thank you, Melissa. And by the way, the W is not for Washington Huskies. It's the football team. It's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers here for the CFL. So yeah, so I will say in terms of that, would have gone for the testing, and that would have cleared a lot of things because I was on a correction action plan from kindergarten to grade 11, and it dropped at grade 12, which is kind of surprising because it looked like they didn't want that negative residue on their record in high school, which was Fort Richmond Collegiate, Go Centurions. And our logo is an eagle, but if you look at the literal definition, it means Roman. So yeah. So how in the words of 1990 song, how bizarre, how bizarre.
You're right. And guess what? That's still going on in schools today. It is something that is one of our biggest flaws. And I appreciate you saying that that's one thing you would change, but you shouldn't have had to been the one to want to change that. The school district should have supported you, supported your family, learned. Now, back in the day, it wasn't as common to do more like, hey, what could be new or different about his brain and the way he learns? Back then, they wanted to punish. He's not sitting still enough. He's talking too much. She's doing this. We got to get them back on track. And it has really impeded so many people that don't feel comfortable using their voice like you do, Gregory, because they have been either shamed or they've been told they were naughty or they were told that they need to stop talking. So I appreciate you. And I absolutely agree with Melissa. I think you need to consider using your voice on more of a platform so you can get yourself out there so that you can work with things. We actually do have so I know you know about Damien and Dr. Tanya's 2350 network. We do have a member in there that is also neurodivergent, and he does work with different sports teams and tries to get a lot more people that can play and do different activities with that. So I bet you if we ask really nicely, maybe Damien can hook you guys up and see if there's something you guys want to bond with, or see if you want to start something or a show, because Melissa and I'll be cheering you on, even though I know almost nothing about sports. I'll be like, go Gregory, go team, right?
Thanks for the comments, MLH. Yeah, I am an incredible supporter because I will say, I know Top Gun scene. Maverick gets ejected from the cockpit. Goose gets ejected from the cockpit. We lose Goose, and the scene
Spoiler alert.
about the I will say the when Maverick tosses Goose's dog tags into the water, and I will say the network that I have amassed, I will say the Goose of LinkedIn, because it kind of saved my life and stuff, because following very neat people like you, Melissa, and a whole bunch of people in the chat that I've seen and stuff. So yeah, so I am very, very thankful in regards to that nature and stuff. So yeah.
Well, we are thankful for you, Gregory, because you bring a different perspective to Phosis. But those curveballs are amazing. But one thing I do want to end with, okay, first of all, Damien wanted to know Knicks or Pacers for you.
Ooh. Damien is choosing some violence today. Wow.
I have no idea why that's an issue.
Okay, let me just. Stephen A. Smith is going to be intolerable. I'm going to say, does Knicks has home court, right? I think so. Yeah. Stephen A. Smith is going to be intolerable. I'm going to say it's going to be Knicks. Seriously.
Okay. Damien, if you have time, I want to see if you agree with him or not.
From the West is going to be. It's going to be. I have to say OKC because the star player is Canadian. Shade Alexander Gilchrist. I have to say OKC. So it's going to be OKC and the Knicks, and it could be, and if it's OKC, it's going to be like another basketball type of holiday here in Canada, because that's it. Because he might sweep NBA regular season MVP, and he could basically be NBA Finals MVP, which probably would be a lock for the Canadian Sports Person of the Year award, and we haven't even completed the other half of the year and stuff. So if that happens, he's a lock for that award per se. So yeah.
All right. That was a lot of words that kind of went way over my head, but I love that. But Damien said he agrees. He said, good job. And then also he said he will connect you with Danielle. So I'm super excited for this. The very last question for you that we're going to do live, and then you can have.
Where are you? I know where it is. I know what it is.
No.
Where is Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada?
No. Vader versus Dumbledore. Who would you pick?
What?
Vader versus Dumbledore. Jameson wants to know. Darth Vader versus Dumbledore from Harry Potter.
Oh boy. Okay, this is my weakness. I'm not familiar with this. Oh. So I'm just going to spin the wheel in my head, and where it lands here. So what was it?
Darth Vader from Star Wars.
The Darth Vader person. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Gregory, we could go on for hours of you talking sports that I have no clue about. Lots of people have so many questions that we just didn't get to. So please go back to their words. But if you want to end with just a minute of something you wanted to share real quick, not sports related, about who Gregory is before we remove you. And I close the show because it's getting late for some people. One thing that you want people to know that we didn't talk about yet.
Well, I will say I'm a unique cookie. So unique and so unique cookie. I'm saying some of the stuff that's been going on in HR right now, I've been saying it for 10, 15, 20 years ago. And now it's coming back to, I will say, the quote, the famous phrase, the chickens are coming home to roost in the HR space. And I'm saying, because, for example, if everybody goes to Brian Fink's LinkedIn profile, who is the talent acquisition for McAfee, yes, nice. I clean up well. I will say go to his latest article in regards to put the phone down and talk to people in a nutshell. And that's what my hashtag represents, that we need to get to a more human to human element. We are uberly too dependent on technology. We socialize within our own bubble, and we only judge people in terms of font type Arial, font size 12 points, and we need to learn about more about the human overall, instead of basically what's on a computer screen, which is 2 or 3 pages of a resume per se. So this is who I am, and this is what, and I'm, and do not put me, I will say, do not put me in a put me as a square peg into a round hole, because it's not going to work per se. So
it will never work for unique cookies. So Gregory, thank you for being here. Please go into the comments and respond to people, because
will do.
Want to know more about you. Thank you, my friend. We will see each other around very soon again. I'm going to remove you. If you want to stay in the background, you can. If you want to leave for the night, you can. I'm going to just wrap up the show for just a minute, but thank you so much. Appreciate you greatly. Bye, Gregory. I told you we were going to get to know these guys a little bit more together, and they did not disappoint. Guys, you don't have to run a business. You don't have to be running for office or anything. You have to want to just get to know people. Let people get to know you. That's what this show is all about. This is about connecting each other, learning about human to human, because if you are on LinkedIn, oh my gosh, the pitch slaps, the people trying to say how wonderful they are and how they can change us and make us better and get us all this business. They don't even know us. They don't even know what kind of businesses we're doing. It drives me crazy. It pushes a lot of the comments away of real people that want to get to know us and possibly do real connection or business with us. So make sure that you're not that human. Make sure that you're not going into people's DMs without taking some time to get to know people, coming to these live events, writing in comments, following people's pages, and actually listening to what their words are. Now, guys, I have a ton of followers on LinkedIn and I get very few comments on any of my posts. And I take a lot of time to write them because it's all about trying to hype other people, make people feel comfortable, realize that we are way more alike than we are different. And that gets people intense and kind of like nervous to even think about sometimes, because we're like, this is LinkedIn. We need to be official and I need to be the best, because otherwise maybe you won't buy from me or do that. But guys, it's about that human relationship. I will never give my money to somebody that I don't know if I can just buy it off of something a lot cheaper from somewhere else, So really think about, what is your image? What is your view? What is your relationship with people when you're reaching out to them and you're making these connections? There are some amazing people both on the YouTube, and I'm pointing over there because I'm watching my other screen over there, on both YouTube and LinkedIn here. There's going to be probably some amazing people watching the replays on this. Please still share about it. Please go in and keep asking Lane and Gregory questions. I mean, like I said in the beginning of the show, they couldn't have been more different, but guess what? In the private chats, they both like the Cowboys. I mean, they're kind of like going on to different things. So we are all, guys, more alike than different. And that's what's going to make the world a much better place when we start realizing that. We open up for diversity. We don't try to control other people or tell them that their emotions are not valid or that their jobs are not good enough or they're not smart enough. We just need to get to know each other and trust in the relationship. Guys, thank you for being here. So many good comments, lots of great support and hype for both Gregory and Lane. Keep getting to know them. I do have quite a few openings coming up. I had a couple people change and not respond to me about a couple of the dates that are coming up. So if this is something you're interested in, you want to talk about something, it's a little bit about hyping yourself. It's a little bit about learning how you want people to perceive you, but it's always about doing good stuff and respecting others and really trying to get that mental wellness vibe out there. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Next week is the Memorial holiday here in the US, so I don't have to work. So I will probably get a nap before the show. So I might talk even faster next week. Isn't that going to be crazy? Today, actually, Gregory's in Canada. It was actually a holiday for him today. So I'm excited about that. We unfortunately didn't even get a chance to talk about that, but go into the comments and keep asking your questions if you want. June is going to be pretty fun on Just Jax. I want to just give you guys just a little bit of a sneak peek. I'm not going to tell you everything. I'm not even going to tell you names yet, but we have somebody that I have known for over 10 years that we met because we both had a mutual friend that passed away. And so we connected through social media to support ourselves from that. She's going to be on the show. I've got somebody that, oh my gosh, I think we figured out it's been 18 years since we started talking through a different social media platform. We finally got to meet in person about 2 years ago. So he's going to be coming on the show. I have a local friend that is just starting to become a little bit more active here on LinkedIn. And he and I actually were in a book that Nick published. So we are co-authors together. He's going to be a guest. That one person that I mentioned might be part of running a group that I'm in, a network per se. She's going to be a guest coming up. And then I have the opportunity to highlight a very important nonprofit to me. It's not even the one that I work for, which may result in you guys actually getting to meet one of my family members. So fingers crossed it works out, because I don't know for sure if timing is going to work out for this person or not, but I can't wait for you to see a little bit more about who I already know, who I'm going to get to know, and who you guys want to see. So feel free to message me if you're not comfortable being on the show, but you're like, maybe this person would be a good guest so other people could get to know them. Please reach out to me. I would love to hear more from you. Guys, this was Just Jackson Guest. I appreciate you. Get to know Lane and Gregory a little bit more. And thank you for spending the evening with us. It was very much appreciated. And I just can't even thank you guys enough for supporting this show and understanding that this is like way out of my comfort zone, doing something like this, doing the tech behind all of this by myself. So even having guests coming up, it could be out of their comfort zone as well. So you guys supporting them is so huge. I appreciate you. Thank you guys.